Looks like we just found 20 plus more pages to the Infinity Gauntlet run. Let's get into it right now. All right, so we're recording this just after Game of Thrones Episode 5 was released. This is going to come out next week after the series has finished, so I feel like there's no spoilers, but just in case, letting you know, we're going to talk a little bit about Game of Thrones in this, because Silver Surfer, issue number 59, the comic book that we are covering, continues from Infinity Gauntlet issue number 5.
Yes.
And oh, are there similarities to how I feel about Game of Thrones and this issue?
For me, that's not a good thing about the issue or about the TV series.
No.
Ryan is about to rant.
Yeah, very bad. Ryan, you're a very, very big Game of Thrones fan.
I am.
How upset are you?
Very, very upset.
On a scale of 1 to 11.
10.
All right, so that's very upset. Fire Guy is fired up. So why are you upset, and how do you compare this to Silver Surfer? Because my thing that's going to compare the two is a little bit later in the overview of this issue.
Last week, we covered Infinity Gauntlet issue number 5, in which Thanos loses the Infinity Gauntlet, and our heroes have to switch focus to fighting Nebula instead of Thanos, the villain that has been built up for this entire run, all 50 plus issues that we've been covering so far.
Okay.
Thanos has been the big threat that they have been alluding to and stressed about and worried about this whole time, and he's taken out real quick by surprise by somebody you're not expecting to have anything to do with the final resolution of the battle in any way at all. And it reminded me very much of the 3rd episode of this most recent season of Game of Thrones. I feel like it's been a few weeks where certain antagonistic elements of the overall plot of the entire show were wiped out entirely, all at once,
Just gone.
by one person who had almost nothing to do with that aspect of the plot at all. And I'm a little salty.
Oh, wow. That's a very interesting take, and that's spot on. Wow, that's actually a really good comparison. See, my comparison has to do with just straight up violations of character buildup, like
That
overall traits in general, things that I don't believe characters would act like this in this situation. I'm not in. And you're actually seeing right now as the actors of Game of Thrones are doing press, like you can see compilations of them.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Saying things like, "Oh, how do you feel about this final season?" And they'll let it slip. Like their job is to sell this. Like they can get in trouble if they say anything bad. But you're seeing like
Show's done now.
Tyrion, Jon Snow, like all these guys, they'll say little things here and there, like, "Oh, I don't know why they did this," or "I just wasn't my idea."
This season's disappointing.
Saying like straight up. So you're comparing a major point of Game of Thrones, this build up to this aspect that Thanos, since Silver Surfer 34, since we started covering this, the big baddie, the guy who's going to take down the universe, whoopsies, like just one panel.
I like how Infinity Gauntlet handled that more than much more than Game of Thrones handled that. So I'll slip that little caveat in there. I think Infinity Gauntlet handled that subversion of expectations a lot smoother.
Well, this issue actually takes place during Infinity Gauntlet issue number 5, because after Thanos loses the gauntlet, he gets sent off into space with Taraxia, where she suffocates.
She dies immediately.
So he's left to just float in space to actually not die.
He's just gonna wait. I guess he'll starve at some point. Does Thanos eat?
I don't know, but
I don't think he eats.
Just to waste away in space
Right
with
next-
his decaying body of his loved one that he also created. No good. But he gets actually saved by 2 individuals no one would expect: Doctor Strange and Adam Warlock.
Yeah, they bring him back to the Sanctum Sanctorum. They're like, "Yo, we need your experience. We gotta fight Nebula. She's no good." And in the issue number 5 of Infinity Gauntlet, they almost glaze right over everything that happens at the Sanctum to get back into the fight with Nebula, and that's how that issue left us hanging last week. This issue of Silver Surfer is going to expand upon the happenings inside the house while they were all there.
Silver Surfer immediately loses it. He can't control himself, and this is something that you would expect. I mean, we've been following him since Silver Surfer 34. It's his burden to stop Thanos, and we see him here, not with the gauntlet, but like just chilling at the home of Doctor Strange. Like, this is what you expect him to do to clash. And we see it happen so quickly in Infinity Gauntlet 5, but it's here in this issue where it's expanded upon. Why does Silver Surfer leave this situation okay with Thanos living? We're going to find out right now.
At first, it seems like there's no way to get around it, that we're going to just have to let them fight each other. And that thought is swept aside pretty close. Dr. Doom and Dr. Strange kind of take a little time out and go talk on their own. And Dr. Doom tells him, like, we might have to just let them fight. Like,
how cool is that freaking close-up shot of his mask?
Yeah,
man?
his eyes are, his whole face. I wanna see it.
He's such a cool character.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I want to see it, but I don't. I'm glad we don't.
Right? It's kind of a weird thing.
I think it would be ruined if I'm sure there's an issue somewhere where you see under the mask. But
Probably.
I hope that's not true.
Seeing under Galactus' helmet was kind of a disappointment.
It's just a dude.
It's just a regular
just
looking
a big
guy.
old dude.
Just a big guy. But Dr. Doom has an idea. This guy loves medieval stuff, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah. Dr. Doom loves medieval stuff.
What's up with that, man?
I don't know. I feel like I should know because I read all the Fantastic Four comics and I got all his origin stuff. I should remember this, but I don't. He's got a suit of armor. He's got a cloak. He's spent time literally in the past in King Arthur times, and Doctor Strange just so happens to have a bookshelf full of King Arthur stuff with Merlin books and a Jim Starlin novel.
What's this book over there, Jim
Exactly.
Starlin? So we're gonna see some like medieval stuff take place, I guess. Oh, we do actually. We see Thanos and Silver Surfer. We're gonna see them jousting pretty soon. Wait, okay. How do we get to this point, Ryan? What's going on?
They have the idea, like, okay, like if they fight, they're gonna kill each other. They're gonna destroy the whole city in the surrounding chaos of their battle. So
can you imagine this? Like, okay, mid universe is gonna like, okay,
Yeah.
we thought Thanos is it's bad news bears, but Thanos actually has a plan to rule everything and probably will destroy everything. Nebula's a loose cannon. She's just been tortured for the last however many days, weeks that this has been. Now she has the gauntlet. Everyone's like, we're just waiting any second for just crap to hit the fan. Worse than Thanos. Like, at least Thanos was being methodical.
yeah, it's kind of like giving the Infinity Gauntlet to somebody like Lex Luthor or the Joker.
That'd be a good question for the community. Who would you be more worried about wielding the gauntlet? The Joker or Lex Luthor? We have a donation from Sasquatch. He actually has some really cool limited stickers that he's made, and we're going to send this out. Answer in the comment section below, and we'll do a giveaway next week. I'm thinking Joker, and this is kind of wise because of this situation. Nebula is a loose cannon, and we're all worried. And it's here where they think it's fitting to figure out how they can, like, resolve the Silver Surfer Thanos conundrum.
Like, let's put them in some kind of alternate dimension and get rid of their powers so they kind of just have to fight each other and settle their differences that way. And whoever wins, I guess, then they can come back and be like, all right, one of us won, so now let's all join forces. And it feels to me like stalling for time.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, this would never happen. They would be on red alert. They'd be freaking out. I mean, there has been so many traumatic events that has happened, and to have them just stop and be like, let's get into like a virtual reality game here. Get your medieval, your medieval equipment and your virtual horses, and let's do some fighting. But you know what? It is what it is. But I'm going to complain a little bit more because this is where I think that there are just straight up character violations happening here. Drax is totally fine with everything happening. He's probably the only character that I would expect to be losing his cool as much as Silver Surfer is right now.
Old Drax, I think, would have been right there with Silver Surfer trying to kill Thanos the second he appeared, screaming Thanos' name and nothing else.
He's holding Silver Surfer back.
He's even got some weird goofy smiles happening in the background. He's standing around in the background a lot of this comic, but he's standing around with a silly smile on his face half the time, which is very out of character.
Sometimes when things don't make sense, we find out later, they like explain it a little bit better. And then we go, oh, Marvel had it all planned out. That's why. But I don't feel like this is what's happening here. But you know what? We get a pretty cool fight scene, in space, Silver Surfer versus Thanos. And they trade a lot of blows. And
A lot.
Thanos is on his deathbed here.
Yeah, Silver Surfer actually manages to like pin him to the ground, and he's about ready to like kill him.
This is actually, I think, the main reason why this is an important comic to this saga. It's not the best one. Certainly isn't the best crossover. The last Silver Surfer crossover was brilliant. But this one in particular has a moment where Thanos is saying, kill me. Essentially, he's accepting the fact that he failed.
Sure.
So he's like, in his face, you can see that he just wants to die. He's like, this is it. This is like
the gauntlet, like Silver Surfer just beat me.
This is
just kill me. I'll be with death. That's
like,
his whole idea.
Maybe it's like at the end of the day, maybe like this is the way he wins. He just dies. He dies and he can be with death finally. And you kind of just think, oh wow, okay, there's the redemption. This is the moment that Silver Surfer goes, no, I'm not going to kill you. Like, it would be nice to kill you. But then I think in this moment, Silver Surfer realizes that if he kills him, he's only doing what he wants.
And then they're definitely doomed because, they have one less person to help them take out Nebula and the Gauntlet.
Perhaps the most experienced person to handle the situation.
Very true.
Wow. Okay. So Silver Surfer lets him go. And Thanos, being the Titan that he is, isn't going to let him just go.
No, Thanos does what Thanos would do and sneaks up on Silver Surfer with a knife and pins him down and says, surrender or I will kill you.
Yeah. So
Silver Surfer surrenders.
Yeah, what's it going to be? Is it going to be death or is it going to be dishonor?
Dishonor.
Ooh. And he chooses dishonor. Silver Surfer comes back, but again, he won. Silver Surfer won this whole battle, and we see this character development continue on.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of a cool look at Silver Surfer's character, I guess. He is the noble one, and Thanos is the sneaky, treacherous one. So it does play to their types, but this whole thing just felt like a 20-plus page diversion.
I agree. But it was definitely interesting to stumble upon it, to find out that Infinity Gauntlet issue number 5 didn't finish with that George Perez, Jim Starlin goodness. It actually winds up finishing here with further explanation that if you read issue number 5 alone as a standalone book, you'd kind of go, that's all it took for Silver Surfer to be okay with this situation? Well, no, it actually took Silver Surfer and Thanos going into a virtual reality courtesy of Doctor Strange, jousting on freaking horses to cause him to be chill with Thanos joining the team to stop Nebula. And you know what? I'm glad it's here, and I'm glad I read it.
Yeah, that's kind of all you can say about this one. I think we're going back into Infinity Gauntlet right after this, too. Number 6, wrapping that up.
That's right. Hit that subscribe button. We're going to be covering a lot of comic books. Comment down below letting us know whether you think it would be scarier to have Joker wielding the gauntlet or Lex Luthor. And we're going to be sending a lucky winner a very cool thing. It looks like it's numbered 7 out of 10, signed by the Sasquatch himself. Very talented artist. And yeah, as always,
don't forget to geek responsibly.
Enough said. Hey, Ryan, if our community doesn't have a local comic book shop and they're not getting their comics on time, are they on their own?
No.
What can they do?
Let Russ know.
That's right, the sensei, the comic book sensei. His Patreon link is in the bio. You go and click on that. You sign up for his Patreon. You got an LCS.
He's your comic shop.
That's right. He'll send you comic books on time. It's that easy. If you need comic books, ongoing titles, the link's in the bio of like every video he put out. Make Russ, the comic book sensei, your comic book shop guy. He's my comic book shop guy. He's Ryan's comic book shop guy. He could be yours too.